Hi guys, and welcome back to another news segment. In this week's news, we're going to talk about more rumours about the M3, the new BMW Individualiseer, which allows you to look at lots of different colours on the M cars, and also having a look at the electric cars and where BMW think they're going with that. We've also got some aftermarket news in this segment about the Akrapovic exhaust for the M2 competition, and also the AC Schnitzer 850i. So starting with the BMW M3 again, I know we've talked about this subject before, but it's close to our hearts. We love M3s, we've had almost every generation of them, including the current one. And the big question on everyone's lips is whether this new M3 is going to be switchable four-wheel drive, whether it's going to be four-wheel drive, or whether they're going to have an option of a manual car and just a rear-wheel drive car. Now we've seen Audi actually release a different model, so they usually have a four-wheel drive model. Now Audi in the R8 have also released just a rear-wheel drive model. Now we have heard some rumors that BMW may be going down the same route, so they may have a four-wheel drive car, which we assume will have the automatic gearbox, and we don't know whether that will be switchable like the F90 is. But also we've heard that they may have a completely separate model which will be rear-wheel drive and which may be manual only. Now M cars, people have been really against them going sort of DCT and now finally going automatic, and there's still a lot of people that still like the manual gearbox and still want M cars to have a manual gearbox. So it'll be interesting to see if BMW actually listen to what some of the purists are saying and maintain a manual gearbox, and whether that happens in only the rear-wheel drive model. Either way, the car is going to come out in the next 2 years, so we will know very soon where we stand on that. At the other end of the spectrum, looking at electric cars, so complete opposite to M cars, BMW have announced that they're going to make their new electric cars be available in the normal chassis. So I'll just explain what I mean by that. Usually BMW have given us a futuristic looking electric car like the i3 or the i8, and that was BMW's step into the future to show people what the future would look like with electric cars. A lot of people are put off by the left field looks. Personally, I like them. I don't think they're awkward. The i3 is a bit tall, but I like it. I think the i8, I don't think you can really argue that that's a very, very good looking car. So the idea is that BMW will now be using electric technology, but in a normal chassis. So the new i4 will be based on the 4 Series Grand Coupe. So it will look completely normal from outside, but it will have electric technology inside it. To go along with that, they're talking about increasing the range on the electric vehicles, so they're much more usable. This has been made possible by the fact that BMW is using a lot of carbon technology in the current models, which allows them to keep the weight down, which then helps them increase the range of the electric vehicles, along with the increased battery technology that's going on right now. I'm sure you've all played this game before, where you go on BMW's or any other manufacturer's configurator and spec the highest car possible. I know I have. BMW have taken this a step further now with their new Individualiseer. Before this came out, it was very difficult to choose an individual colour on a BMW because most dealers wouldn't have a comprehensive list of what was available. I know that when I went to choose my F80 M3, a lot of the colours that I had seen on other people's cars weren't on the list. So when I went to the dealer and said, can I have this colour? They were actually unsure about whether it was available, and they had to go check with somebody in Germany if it was. So it looked like there wasn't a centralized system. With this website, you can actually go on there and spec an M4 or an F90 M5 and choose from what looks like to be a complete list of individual colors. There's colors on there that I haven't even seen before. So if you guys have a chance, check out the website. We'll put the link in the description and have fun. Moving on to aftermarket news, Akrapovic have been developing the highly anticipated exhaust for the M2 competition. Now you're probably wondering why there isn't any aftermarket exhaust for this car yet. The reason for this is that now there are two different models. There's one for Europe and there's one for the rest of the world. And that is because the European cars have to have something called a PPF, OPF fitted, and that's a petrol particulate filter. Now this is similar technology to the DPFs that they've been using in diesels for many years. This has presented new set of challenges for exhaust makers, because by fitting a freer flowing exhaust, it's basically tripping the light for the PPF because it thinks it's flowing too much. So the manufacturers are now having to go back to the drawing board and actually redesign the exhaust to work with the PPF. So So Acra are going to offer two different exhausts. One will be an axle back slip-on, which will still have the PPF and the cats in place. And then they will also make one with a link pipe, which will delete the PPF. Now, if you delete the PPF completely, you will need an ECU remap for this car, just like you would do if you deleted the cats from it. The system has been penned for release in 2019, so I think March 2019. And when we have more news on that exhaust, we will release it to you. Sticking to improving the breathing of the cars, but going to the other end of the car, Eventury have recently released their new intake for the Mini F56 platform. That's the Cooper S and the Cooper S JCW. That's the 2-litre B48 turbocharged engine. Now this intake is very trick. We've had it fitted on our car and we've been running it for the last few months to test it. It works really well, it sounds amazing, and they've managed to utilize the hood scoop to draw more cold air into the intake and use their patent pending Eventury housing to accelerate the air as it's going through the intake. We're going to cover this intake in more detail and actually do a full install video and show you some improvements in the performance that it makes on the car, so watch out for that. We filmed this new segment before we left for the SM Motor Show. If you guys haven't been before, I strongly urge you to visit. It's really like the European SEMA, and in some ways I think it's actually better. Reason being because it's much more European centric, so you get a lot more European cars there, like BMWs, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Audi. You get the picture. In America, when we went to SEMA, there was a lot of trucks there, so I even think that SN is a much more relevant show if you're into European cars. We're also going to follow up from SN and take our F90 M3 to Super Sprint for exhaust development. So they're going to make a full system for us, including the downpipes, which they then will release to the general public. We've been using Super Sprint exhaust for many years. They manufacture Evolves, headers, and some of our Valvetronic exhausts. So it was a natural choice for us to go and take the car down there and let them have a go at the F90 exhaust and see what they can come up with. So we will be covering a video of that whole process from the journey down there and the development, so keep an eye out on our channel for that. So that's the news. If you want to watch more BMW related news, you can watch that over here. If you'd like to watch something YouTube suggests you might like from our other videos, you can watch that over here. Now, if you did like the video, please click that thumbs up button. And if you've got any questions, you can put those in the comments for us. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel.